B2B SaaS is high stakes. So why do so many companies fail to unlock growth? Watching their competitors grow faster, sometimes with a weaker product? Well, let's think about it. There are more than 30,000 SaaS companies, all vying for the attention of the companies you're selling into. They may not be in your niche, but those are people that are all trying to reach your companies. And so that number is only going to rise. So the real question isn't how to compete, but how to be so distinct that your competitors are left wondering how you're always one step ahead. So in the past, I've shared insights on B2B marketing fundamentals, outcomes CEOs seek across different time horizons, and how to forge high-performing teams. Let's dive into the unique challenges of B2B SaaS marketing and how to navigate them. I really encourage you to rethink your approach, who's on your team, and what needs to happen to create an inflection point of growth. See, my experience scaling companies, sometimes as a CMO, sometimes an advisory board member, sometimes as a fractional CMO, has taught me that growth leaves a muscle memory. And so what I want you to think about is success demands not just iteration, but a willingness to place wise bets. Be driven by data when you get it, and then helping create a unified vision across marketing, sales, and the product teams, especially with your product teams. Now, there are 6 core key challenges to B2B SaaS growth. And from the marketing and sales perspective, this is where you all can really dial this in. First, I want you to think about the challenge of market saturation. It's not about just adding to the noise. It's about changing the frequency of your messaging. Your strategy should resonate so uniquely with your audience that switching to a competitor feels like a downgrade. 2, complex offerings. So the more complex your solution is and what it does, you need to simplify that much more. And simplification here is your superpower. The most intricate products need the clearest explanations. It's not about dumbing down what your product does. It's about making your offering accessible to the non-tech people and make sure they understand it's incredibly easy to get on board and that it's worth the investment of not just the dollars, but the time. 3, I want you to think about customer conviction. Stop selling. There's nothing wrong with sales teams. I love salespeople, but stop selling and instead seek to start solving. I want you to transform your product from a nice to have to a can't live without. I want you to make your customers the heroes of their own stories with your solution not as the hero, but as the trusted sidekick of your customers. 4, long sales cycles. B2B SaaS, we know as the dollar figures go up, SaaS, the sales cycles get longer. So I want you to embrace the marathon. Build relationships through consistent, value-driven communication that keeps you top of mind from the first contact to year after year of successful contract renewals. 5, complex decision-making. Multi-thread your approach. I want you to craft messages and content that speak to each stakeholder's unique concerns that will create a chorus from that prospective company of people saying, that's right, you understand. Or saying, gosh, when can we get started? And you're not having to solicit that from them. And 6th and finally, I want you to think about customer retention. Annual reoccurring revenue is the goal. This comes from not just getting new customers, but in keeping them. You need to develop a unified content strategy that acknowledges there's a 90% overlap in the content across marketing, onboarding, sales, support. And I want you to optimize then instead for reusing that content across the buyer's journey, regardless of where it's sourced from. So is there a secret? Yeah, it's not about thinking about these as challenges. Instead, I really think you should think about these as opportunities and puzzle pieces to be figured out. So who should be on your team? You need to think about hiring thinkers and doers that find joy in exploration, people who prefer the thrill of discovery over the comfort of the known. What tool they used before, it should work now, but they're always experimenting with new things. It's about fostering a culture where well-placed bets are celebrated, where innovation is the norm, and where every team member is driven not by a fear of failure, but by the excitement of what's possible. So why do so many B2B companies end up with uninspired marketing and sales narratives that all pretty much sound the same? Well, I have my perspective, but I really want to hear from you. So please leave a comment.